What's up everyone, this is Wasim from the Tech Boys and I have a review of the Google Nexus 4 built by LG. So this is the 4th generation Nexus device. You can buy it from the Google Play Store for an 8GB version for $300 or a 16GB for $350. You can also buy it at a T-Mobile store for $199 on contract. So let's go ahead and get started with the review. First we're going to talk about the hardware of the device. So here is the Nexus 4. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So the Nexus 4 has a 4.7-inch display with a resolution of 1280 by 768. So this is the same as the Lumia 920 or even the LG Optimus G. So just a very nice IPS display, nice colors. It's definitely not as saturated as like AMOLED displays, but it's a very nice display. It's very bright. It's super crisp. Overall, pretty good viewing angles. And taking a look around the device, it is glass on the front and back. So, and this device is built by LG. So, to me, I love the build quality of the Nexus 4. So very premium build quality as far as the glass. It is plastic around the edges, but other than that, it's a very good looking phone. You do have your volume rocker on the left side with your SIM tray. You also have a power lock button on the right side. And the Nexus 4 is not thick or it's not too thin, so it's right in the middle. It gives a good weight in the hand. It's comfortable to hold, and just a very good looking device. Inside the Nexus phone is a quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro CPU. You also get 2GB of RAM, and with 8GB or 16GB configuration. There is no LTE support on the Nexus 4, but you will be able to pick up HSPA with AT&T and HSPA Plus with T-Mobile. The Nexus 4 is running Google's latest software, Android 4.2 Jelly Bean, with no custom skin. This is a stock pure Android experience. And just my review of Android 4.2 is awesome. I love the features of Android. So as far as the lock screen widgets, just the camera UI, as well as the speed, is just a very good looking phone. Just a quad-core processor with the 2GB of RAM. This is probably the fastest phone I've ever used. Adding new widgets, switching between application is just extremely fast. So let me just show you just the multitasking power of this device. So just switching between apps is extremely fast. You're just closing it, moving between your pages. So there is absolutely no lag on this device. The notifications is pretty cool now. So if you go ahead and tap on it, you have some quick access to some brightness controls, some wireless settings like your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, or even setting your airplane mode as well as your battery life. You also get Google Now with Android 4.2, which was in Android 4.1 as well. And with Google's just updating Google Now heavily, so you can now, identify songs, you can scan QR codes, and it's just, if you've never used Google Now, I highly recommend getting an Android 4.1 device. So it's super cool knowing how long it's going to take to get to work, or when it's going to get home, the weather, just sports. So on Sundays, I have all my football teams on Google Now, so I know the score. I used it when it was baseball season. You also have Google Wallet, which is nice, so you can't get AT&T or T-Mobile or even Verizon to block that. This is all built in, and I have my AT&T SIM card, and it works perfect. So it's very cool to use it. It works in Walgreens, it works at CVS, it works at American Eagle. So Google Wallet is definitely a very cool feature in this device. And just all the Google apps with Google Maps is very nice. Google Plus, the camera is all built in. So just a ton of features that I can say about the Nexus 4. Android 4.2 Jelly Bean is probably the best OS on the market today. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into the web browser. The Nexus 4 comes with Chrome, and we're going to go to phonearena.com. And this phone just flies through web browsing. It's very fast. Pinch to zoom is nice and fast. So I mean, I expect any smartphone today that comes out to be a very good web browser, and this phone is no exception. So it's very similar to other high-end devices like the Galaxy S3 and the iPhone 5. So I wouldn't say this is better than those devices, but I mean, as far as high-end devices, this is probably up there with the others, like the iPhone 5 and the Galaxy S3. So very smooth web browser. Of course, you can download Chrome on a lot of devices. And if you've used Chrome before, it's just a very nice UI. And the Nexus 4 just, takes advantage of that nice interface. Alright, next I'm going to talk about battery life, call quality. So battery life is good. It's definitely not great. So you should be able to get through a full day, probably with easy to moderate use. If you are going to be using it very heavily, you're probably going to have it dead, probably on late afternoon. So it's definitely not the greatest because of that quad-core processor and that display. It's definitely going to drain a lot faster than other devices, but it's definitely not terrible. So let's talk about the camera of the Nexus 4. The Nexus 4 has an 8 megapixel camera, just like many other high-end devices. And the camera interface in Android 4.2 has been completely redesigned. So let's say you want to change some of the settings for your camera. Let's go ahead and press and hold on the screen, and you can see all these menus. So you can move to your front-facing camera. You can change HDR, your flash, your shooting mode, your settings as well, and the effect. So really nice, and from the bottom you can change from standard to video, panorama, and the last on top is photosphere, which is really cool. I'll see if I can include a sample image of photosphere, which basically stitches many images together to make kind of like a Google Maps view of an area. So it's just a full screen panorama view, which is really cool. As far as image quality, it takes decent shots. It's definitely not as good as other high-end devices, but it's very good for everyday point and shoot photos. But it's not going to get the details like other high-end smartphones. The Nexus 4 also features QI wireless charging. Unfortunately, it wasn't working with my Lumia wireless charging plate. It would go off and on, so it wasn't a good experience, but you could probably, I think the Duracell wireless charging plate does work, but that is a built-in feature with the Nexus 4. Call quality has been good. It's definitely not the clearest earpiece, and even the speaker is not the loudest or the clearest, but just for everyday use, it's pretty good. And as far as data speeds, I have it on AT&T, and I'll run a quick speed test just to show you what kind of speeds you might be getting if you decide to get an unlocked phone. Like I said, this doesn't have LTE, so you're not going to get LTE speeds. You're going to get HSPA. So just depending on your area, you might not, you probably won't get LTE speeds with this device. But just for everyday use, for web browsing, just watching videos, the speeds are decent. So right now I'm getting around 2 megabits per second. And on AT&T I've gotten as high as 8 or even 6 with this device. I'll show you the results. So I've gotten a little bit higher. I've gotten 9, I've gotten 11 before, 8, 6. So it's definitely not horrible. And if you don't need LTE, if you don't have LTE in your area, then this is a really good option to look at, especially if you're looking for a stock Android experience. So bottom line, the Nexus 4 is definitely one of the best Android phones I've used. And for the price of $300 or $350 unlocked, this is a really good option if you're, let's say, if you're still locked in a contract and you want to get a new device, or you don't even want a 2-year contract. You can use this phone globally. You can use it on AT&T or T-Mobile. So just a very good option. If you don't need LTE, especially if it's not available in your area, then go ahead and pick up a Nexus 4. Sometimes I actually choose to use my Nexus 4 over some LTE devices. My area is actually covered in LTE, but I still choose to use the Nexus 4 just because of the speed of the device. I love stock Android, and features like Google Wallet just make it just a very fun phone to use. And it's definitely probably my favorite device of 2012. So thank you guys for watching my review of the Nexus 4. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and let me know what you think of the Nexus 4 in the comment section below. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.